Welcome into the PHNX Suns pregame show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you know whenever we are live. I'm Lindsay Smith here with Espo, Gerald Bourget, and Saul Bookman. And gentlemen, tonight the Phoenix Suns will face off against the Orlando Magic. We were a little iffy on if this one was going to happen or not because thanks to Hurricane Nicole, a lot of travel issues were created for the Suns in this one.
Yeah, they had to actually cancel their original flight from Minnesota to Orlando. They had to stay an extra night in Minnesota, fly to Tampa Bay, drive 2 hours in a bus up to Orlando, and then get a practice in. It was a mess, to say the least, when it came to getting from Minneapolis to Orlando, thanks to Tampa for having an airport that made it at least possible.
So you're saying if the Suns come out looking flat tonight or for whatever reason lose this game, we're blaming it on the rain?
Blame it on the rain. Yeah.
I knew I could count on you for that one, Espo. I knew I could count on you for that.
Do you even know what song that is?
I have no idea, but Espo sent it to me in the chat today, so now I have an idea of what song it is.
Yeah,
but I know that he knows what it is.
No. We talked about it on our phone call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know, and you'll never know because that's not the tune.
Oh, well.
Well, you know what we should have done? We should have had the Milli Vanilli version, and I should have lip synced it.
And then
there you
we
go.
got sued for
Then it
blaming
would
it on the rain.
It would come full circle, and Lindsay still wouldn't know what the fuck we were talking about.
It's a good possibility.
It's not like Gerald knew, and you're not that much. You guys are in a similar age bracket.
It might have been an older song, but it was definitely a popular thing that had happened in pop culture.
I don't know what to tell you.
There you go.
I don't know what to tell you.
There's that Sierra Vista black hole that we all talk about.
Did you actually click on the link and listen to it?
I clicked on it and I listened to the first ad and then I said, I'm not doing this.
First ad.
The first
Didn't even get to the music.
Awesome.
At least I'm honest.
That's fair.
I'll
Apparently
listen
not
to it after
dedicated
the show.
to the bits, but yeah.
Well, because I knew you would carry me, so it was no big deal.
We'll play it
you
during
know?
halftime. It'll be
Yeah.
great.
But thankfully, the Suns did make it all the way out to Orlando for this game. It will happen. Hopefully, everyone out in Florida stays safe throughout the whole hurricane situation and that nothing too major is affecting anybody out there. So just thoughts for you guys dealing with all of that. But tonight's game has a lot of major issues going on within it as well from the injury side of things. Both of these teams are missing quite a few of their players. So let's just dive right in. The Phoenix Suns are going to be without Landry Shamet with, he's got concussion type symptoms. So that I'm wondering, is this mean you have a concussion and you're showing symptoms, or you have symptoms of a concussion, but we're not totally sure if you have a concussion?
He put on a dizzying performance the other night, and he wasn't ready for it, and that's why he's out.
I thought Saul jumped out on him and scared him. No, Monty said they don't know how it happened, which is the weirdest part of it, but that he last night, I think it was, just all of a sudden had symptoms of it. So and he said it's something to the extent of that's how weird and how difficult these head injuries are. I mean, he very well could have hit his head in the game the other night. They didn't really think or notice anything about it, and he has symptoms. So you don't mess around with it.
No,
and that's why
absolutely
they're sitting him out. So
I just feel like it came out of left field. So, but apparently Monty thinks the same thing.
Yeah, he said it just kind of jumped up on him last night, so they're just being cautious.
I don't. Maybe they had bad turbulence or something. He smacked his head against the.
They did ride on a bus up to Orlando. Have you ever ridden on one of those buses? They usually have the low overhang when you try to stand up. Maybe he hit his head when he was standing up in the bus.
Who knows? But he will not be playing in tonight's game, and neither will Chris Paul, who's still dealing with that right heel soreness. He was questionable coming into tonight's game, but he has officially been ruled out. Landry Shamet is, of course, out still with personal reasons, and so is Cam Johnson with that right meniscus tear. On the Magic side, they got a slew of guys who are going to be out of tonight's game, but the most important one, the one that I think a lot of Suns fans, regardless of if you're rooting for the Magic or not, you still want to see this guy play. Paola Banchero is going to be out for tonight's game.
Banchero.
with a left ankle sprain. Cole Anthony will be out. Jonathan Isaac will be out. Markelle Fultz and Gary Harris will also all be out. So
that could be an Orlando
injury list.
Well, that could be an Orlando starting lineup right there.
I mean, low key, so could the Suns if you throw Jay Crowder back up on that list.
Yeah,
that's fair as well.
Like, we could have a whole separate ball game with just the injured players or the ones who aren't with their team. So that's kind of what's going on. So that brings us to the question, with CP3 and Landry both out for the Suns, who fills that gap? Because we did rely on Landry in the last game when CP3 was out. Who are we going to rely on tonight?
I don't think they really relied on Landry. I mean, again, what you've seen so far this season with Chris Paul in or out is that they're kind of trying to initiate the offense through several different individuals, and I think it's going to be no different tonight. Campaign, Mikal Bridges, like the list just goes on, and everybody's going to kind of take a turn setting things up. So it's not really one direct person that ever initiates the offense time and time again. It's going to be a mixture of everybody.
Yeah, but Landry was a big part of that in that second unit the other night with Campaign moving into the starting lineup. So they will feel that in that second unit somewhat, and I'd imagine that means even more usage from Devin Booker tonight. He was at 31% the other night. Look at that. I'm using cleaning the glass, buddy. Hey, how about that? Which was, I believe, in the 98th percentile of usage. So I think that.
See what you started here? Now he's not going to, he's just going to,
you're welcome.
He's going to find so many stats to just be like,
you act like that's a bad thing.
How dare I study for our show? What a jackass I am.
It's never going to stop. Watch.
So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he has more usage tonight with Landry out and having to stagger minutes with him in Campaign at times as well, and maybe some Dwayne Washington Jr.
Maybe. Then that's the question, because like you mentioned, Landry was a part of that bench unit. We've seen Damian Lee, Josh Okogie, and Landry all bring it up with that second unit with Campaign in the starting group. So I am curious, when you take away Landry, do they continue to just stick with Lee and Okogie, or do they actually give Dwayne a chance? He is back with the team. He's been back since last game as well. But no Chris Paul again, and no Landry Shamet. That really limits your number of ball handlers. Not that Dwayne is like some facilitating point guard, but he is a guy who can handle the rock at least and play the guard spot. So
he's a warm body.
Yes, exactly. So I am curious. Hopefully we get to see him tonight, some of the shot making that he can provide, because let's face it, like the bench unit, when they share the ball like they did the other night, they're going to be just fine, but that's not necessarily always the case, and this Magic team has a lot of length on the defensive end.
I know we did get to see a little bit of Dwayne Washington Jr. What was it, the game after he became a dad when he was out for personal reasons? I think it was like a couple minutes at the end in garbage time, and it wasn't great. But I do think it's worth, especially a team like Orlando, who is down quite a few of their players, to experiment with guys like Dwayne Washington Jr., to give him a little bit of run, to see what you're really kind of working with. Because I know Monty said he didn't really see much in practice, nothing noteworthy, I guess you could kind of say. But throw him out there into game action. Let him get some of that repetition, some experience, things he can learn from and grow off of, so that if, God forbid, you do have to tap into him later on in the season when things really start to matter against a team that is much better than Orlando, at least you know what you're getting.
I would say that in regards to Landry Shamet's, not playing tonight, last game he showed that he had something to offer this team, and played very well. But other than that, in prior games, you wouldn't even know he was out there. So I don't really feel like the Suns are really going to lose a lot when it comes to Landry Shamet not playing tonight, Chris Paul being out or not.
They will lose a little defensive intensity, and I think this flies under the radar because we always focus on Landry's shooting and some of the decisions that he makes, but he defends his ass off, so that's going to be something that Okogie can fill that hole a little bit, but will he be able to contribute offensively is the question. He commits a lot of turnovers for such a low usage guy, so that's something to keep an eye on.
And
as well.
so far, we haven't really seen much from him on that side, so not looking good.
Landry's not afraid to shoot the three, like we talked about the other night. That those attempts and obviously making them are important. And the other night, Orlando lost to Houston, and Houston shot 48 threes and made 24 of them.
Yeah.
So, you're going to be able to get good looks from 3 tonight against Orlando, especially with them being even more depleted than they were against Houston. So you wish you had a guy that found a little bit of a groove the other night. Somebody else is going to have to pick up the 3-point shooting.
So what you're saying is tonight might be the night that Okogie hits his first 3 of the season?
Let's go!
No. Jock Landale's going nuts from deep tonight.
Okay, I'd be here for that.
Okay, that I can actually legitimately get on board with.
He needs one of those nights.
And legitimately believe.
Yeah, that too. A lot of people in the chat have already mentioned today needs to be a DA game. DA needs to go out there and just throw his weight around literally and figuratively, score 35, and will this team to a win here tonight. Do you think DA is in need of a bounce back game? Is that fair to say?
I think it'd be good for his confidence, and I think it's something that we've kind of been waiting for. He's had a couple of 20-point games so far this season, but going against this front court in particular, there's Wendell Carter Jr. at the 4, and there's Bol at the 5. And Bol has actually been playing pretty well so far, so I am curious.
It's hard to root against a guy like Bol.
Him and Taco Fall. I always wanted him on the Suns so we could have a Taco Bowl night at the arena. So.
Taco Bowl. There you go.
That was that draft. I wanted them to take those two for no other reason than that. Yeah, DA, can you have a bounce back game when you haven't had a bounce game? Like, I mean,
he was playing well at the beginning of the season.
Not to the dominant way that people want him to. Yeah, he needs a good game tonight. I mean, this is set up for him to succeed, and he needs to go out there and help his team win and win handily, so they don't have to mess around with a team that has no business being in a game with them.
I don't really want to say anything because it's just I'm just very, very low right now on DA. It's really kind of depressing, to be honest with you. I don't want to be this low on DA, but I won't believe it till I see it. Yeah. I won't believe it till I see him dominate a game that he should be easily dominate. He should have done that last game. And I understand you got the Twin Towers, but the other guy put up double figures, and I think he had like 23 and 12. Why not you? And we're looking at these matchups for a number 1 pick going up against 2, really good centers. One of them's elite in Joel Embiid, and he's just absolutely faded into a dumpster fire. Like I don't have anything positive to say about DA at this point right now. I need him to play much, much better, and until he does, I'm gonna keep his name out of my mouth.
How far we've come, man.
I know, right?
Yeah, I hit a wall. I hit a threshold that it's hard to come back from. Landry Shamet knows that.
Landry Shamet's
but
been
you're
at the bottom of the well.
We're working on that.
DA is now in Landry Shamet territory?
I mean, Landry Shamet is the iceberg, and we're veering very hard towards it.
Wow. Okay. Well, speaking of DA, Gerald pulled all of the stats from DA and Paola Banchero's first 11 games as rookies, just so we can kind of compare and see how these 2 number 1 picks are sort of matching up, I guess, in those rookie first few games. So, Gerald, do you want to break this down for us?
Yeah, I mean, through the first 11 games of their careers, DA averaged just under 16 points, just under 11 rebounds, shot 59%. The Suns went 2-9. Paola Banchero has been off to a tremendous start. He and Benedict Mathurin look like the 2 heavyweight contenders for Rookie of the Year. Banchero's averaging 23.5 points, 8 rebounds. He's shooting 46%. And the Magic have also had a 2-9 record with him in the lineup. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, Banchero and DA have very different skill sets. They play a different position. But Banchero's been off to a really good start this season. I'm pretty bummed that we're not going to see him play in this game. But he's a bright young talent for sure. I just thought it was interesting to take a look at, just for reference sake, what these 2 number 1 picks averaged.
DA has worse stats this year than we're seeing in those first 11 games of his career.
Yeah.
14.6 points, 7.6 rebounds. I get it. He's playing on a much better team, so I understand from a scoring perspective, but from a rebound perspective,
the rebounds is probably the most eye-opening part of all of it. Like, what else are you going to do if you're not going to score? Like, you got to rebound, and it's just again, like you know what? Like I said, I'm gonna keep his name out of my mouth. Paolo has played very, very well. He's been assertive. He's been aggressive. That first game on opening night against the Detroit Pistons, I was blown away by his physicality. It was like, it was almost like a little mini LeBron out there just because of his physical size and stature and the way he's able to handle the ball and go full speed ahead. It's just he's definitely like a train on the tracks. You don't want to get in the way of that. And I've been very impressed with his performance. It's unfortunate that he's not playing tonight because I'd definitely love to see that. But hey, it is what it is, and hopefully we'll get to see him when he comes to Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I wish we were seeing him tonight, and he's the first Orlando rookie to have back-to-back 30-point games other than Shaq, right? Okay. And this is a franchise that's had how many number one picks? Like they've been one of the luckiest in terms of winning draft lotteries. So and they've had a lot of lottery picks over the years. It's impressive that those are the two names on that list, and this kid looks otherworldly so far.
They've had 3 lottery picks, haven't they?
I think is it 3 or 4? It was Dwight, Shaq, Penny.
Yeah, that's 4.
And
that's 4.
Banchero.
Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like him so far. Remember coming up to the draft, we were all shocked that because we thought Jabari Smith was going to go first, and then the odds suddenly shifted to Banchero. Like, wow, what's happening? Like, they made the right call so far. So far, it's only 11 games in, but he looks like he's NBA ready right now, and he's been tremendous.
Also, I have to go on the record and say this, but Benedict Mathurin is way more him than Paolo. Bear down.
Here you go.
And with that, let's go farther into today's show and take a look at some of the bets and things around the league in case you want to put a little money on this one. Who do you guys have winning this game and by how much?
I got the Suns by 9. I think there are just too many absences for the Magic, and they're just not a good team this year. So
I got them by 3 because I feel like the travel might have thrown their whole thing off, and I think it'll play a factor. How much of a factor, I'm not so sure, but in the first half, I think you'll see a little bit of a sluggish start.
0.0 is what amount of factor it's going to play. This team's rolling to a 21-point victory tonight. This is blowout city without all these guys for Orlando. I get you don't have Cam Johnson, you don't have Chris Paul, but you still got Devin Booker, and that's
you don't
enough.
have Landry Shamet.
Landry as well. Mini CP3.
I could see how they come out of the gates a little sluggish, but I'm with Espo, maybe not as
strong.
Yeah, strong in that conviction, but I do think this one will be a Suns win by double figures. So I've got Suns by 11. So far in the chat, we've got Lucas with Suns by 12, Charles Suns by 4, Musab Suns by 16. Eli said, I'm with Lindsay, and Jay is singing us some Drake. So 21, can you do something for me? There you go.
I will say, though, that the Suns have historically kind of played with their food against teams that sit guys. So Saul's pick might wind up being the winner anyway, because they always do this against these type of teams.
Orlando's so bad they aren't even food.
They might defy
it's an appetizer.
But they do believe in magic.
They do.
What do our friends over in Vegas at the DraftKings Sportsbook app think about tonight's game?
Suns by 7.5 is what they have. And this line didn't really move much when it was announced CP3 was out, which I found interesting. I guess questionable was enough for them to skew those odds the way that they needed to already.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that it didn't move at all with CP3 being out. You would think like maybe even just a point. But I guess they just have zero faith in Orlando.
DraftKings has been listening to Saul speaking of CP3, so they have very low expectations with him.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's look at the DraftKings Sportsbook app and see what kind of bets we all are thinking about tonight's game. So for me, I've got Devin Booker over 4.5 rebounds at a plus 110 tonight. I kind of feel like Devin is entering we've talked about it a little bit over the last few games. Specifically earlier this week when we were saying it was kind of like vintage Devin Booker third quarter where he put the team on his back, that kind of thing. Kind of wonder if Devin is leaning a little bit into that form of himself, not in a bad way, but more just like, well, if nobody else is going to do it, then I guess I'm going to do it.
I like it.
I have our center Under, it's actually a PRA, not points. It's 26.5 PRA.
I was gonna say this is an easy bet.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely wouldn't have been a minus 110. I'm sure if you think that guy's going to score over 26.5, then you probably would have got that at plus 8,000 because that ain't happening. So,
I have the Suns alternate spread. The highest you could get was minus 14. It wouldn't go up to 21, so I took minus 14 at a plus 205. Then I'm gonna make a little scratch.
And I submitted this totally fake bet before we knew that Chris Paul was not playing, but I think that I would have gotten those odds plus 150 that Dwayne Washington Jr. actually plays tonight.
Still may not.
He might not. That's what I'm saying. We got to be prepared for the possibility that he somehow doesn't play still.
Can I address the chat for a second?
Yes.
Hello says, can we talk about the nightmare that is the Magic mascot?
Is that the one that has like the
Stuff
little
the
thing, like a
Magic.
bug looking thing?
Yeah, you leave Stuff the Magic Dragon out of this, all right? There are so many worse mascots than Stuff.
I mean, at least he's kind of cute.
And he was on roller skates going around in a circle when Aaron Gordon had one of the coolest dunks in dunk history.
That's true.
Back off,
true.
Stuff,
Down.
all right?
It was an iconic moment. Yeah.
I feel like that mascot looks more like a teddy bear than most of the other mascots around the league. That one feels like something you'd
Except
actually
for the
see.
Jazz. That one is actually a bear, so.
Well,
Yeah, which doesn't.
doesn't count.
Story time.
Oh, boy.
The Jazz mascot, at least back when I was there, was the creepiest when he'd come for Go's birthday with the dancers and stuff. Like,
Oh no.
creepy AF, all right? No lies there. Like yeah, not good.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was well known.
That's
That's
terrible.
awkward. Okay, so I have a game for you guys to round out this
let's go.
show. The game is called Who Did That?
Okay.
And for the most
Who
part,
did that?
there's one single question, but it's a bonus question. We'll get into that later. But for the first 5 questions here within the game, you have to tell me who did that. Okay, I'm going to give you a thing, and you have to say which Suns player, whoever I list off on the question.
These are all Suns players?
Who did that? I will. Yes,
Current
they're all Suns
Suns
players,
players?
but I will let you know if it's current or all time.
Okay.
And you have to buzz in by saying your name. And we're going to actually keep score this time. Okay?
Okay.
So the first question is, this current Suns player's career high against the Magic was 35 points. Who did that?
Gerald. Devin Booker.
Yes.
All right.
See, so I have a feeling some of these are going to be really easy and some of them are
Jesus
going to be
Christ.
maybe hard.
I don't know why I thought it wasn't going to be the most obvious answer, but
Well, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, okay? All right. This Suns player scored 2 points in their first ever career game against the Magic. Who did it?
Saul,
Deandre
Ayton.
Nope.
Kate Upton.
You got to say your name first.
Oh, Espo.
No, I'm just saying
Kate Upton,
names.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, Espo. I'm going to say it was Landry Shamet.
No.
All right.
Well,
Gerald.
I mean, listen, I didn't check
It
every
could have
single
been.
one of them. It could have been, but I'm looking for a specific answer,
Okay.
so that's what we're going with.
Gerald.
Yes.
Devin Booker.
Yes.
Let's go.
I was trying to make this a little bit more wonky at the top, okay?
Awesome.
This one should be an easy one in
Devin
theory.
Booker. No? Okay.
I almost made all of them Devin Booker ones. I low-key almost did that. Okay. Which current Sun, has had 50 steals against the Magic in their entire
Saul.
career?
Damn it.
Espo was first.
Markelle Bridges.
No.
Oh, Saul.
Chris
Paul.
Yes, Chris Paul. 50. Espo 50.
Markelle could do that in one night. Have you seen that man?
I
night.
mean,
He's like
One
Mr.
night.
Fantastic from the Fantastic Four.
He's probably
Yes.
played against the Magic, 8 times because this is his 5th year. So you would have had to average
10?
7 steals
We
a
would have
game.
been talking about that all pregame show had that been the case.
That's how much I believe in Markelle, all right?
I love the support. I do. Okay. Next up. What player on the Suns currently scored the most points against the Magic in 2021-22?
Saul.
Yes.
Markelle Bridges.
Nope.
Gerald.
DA. Yes.
Let's go.
You almost second guessed yourself too there. It was DA and he had 38.
I don't believe that.
Devin did miss a game last year, so that's probably a reason why DA or Book is not higher on that list. Okay, next question. Which player in Suns franchise history, so all of them, has had the most rebounds against the Magic in a single regular season
Saul.
game? Saul.
Charles Barkley.
Yes. Did you know that off the top of your head? Like you knew that?
I knew
How
that.
many?
Okay. Yeah, do you know how many?
Fuck no.
Does anybody know how
I'm
many?
gonna say 17.
I'm going to say 24.
Gerald?
19.
It's 20.
Oh.
DA is tied for second with 19.
Oh.
Charles also had a 19 rebound game, and so did Andrew Lang.
Impressive.
So there's that. Okay, so
3-2, Gerald.
That's
so
3-2.
far, Gerald has 3, and Saul has 2, and Espo has a goose egg. These next 2 questions are bonus questions, and they are worth 2 points each.
Now
so
I'm going to beat your asses.
Espo,
Watch
you
out.
still are in this game, okay? All right. This next question is not a who did that. It's a points question. You have to tell me the number of points, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the largest margin of victory for the Suns over the Magic?
Espo,
Yes.
28.
No.
Oh, Espo. 31.
Wait, you can't
Start
answer
throwing numbers
I
multiple
know
times.
you have to wait for 2 others to go.
I
Saul.
read this in the
Saul.
game notes.
31.
This
No.
was in the game notes. Gerald, 35?
Oh, so close, you
Espo,
guys.
34.
No.
Gerald,
Espo,
Gerald,
We're not doing
36.
this all night. Are we doing
Gerald,
this all-
36. It was
Do-
35 or 36.
So do we give points for that, or do we just say nobody gets
Nobody
points?
Just say
gets
nobody
points.
gets
Okay,
points.
nobody
That's a
gets
hard-ass
points. The
question.
answer
That
is
was in the
36.
game notes.
These bonus questions we're all in the game notes.
Yeah.
That's why
Okay.
they're bonus questions.
So are you trying to get us to study the goddamn
Yes.
game notes
You don't
before
study the
every
game
game?
You don't look at the game notes before
I
a
have
game?
never looked at the game
I
notes.
look at them every game.
Oh, I never.
you
look-
guys?
I have
Yeah.
never. I have never
Yeah.
once opened
Well.
up the game notes.
Well, the other ones of us do, so I figured we all did. Sorry, Saul. It was 36. It happened in 1997, and the Suns won 121-85. Okay, our final bonus
Awesome.
questions.
I'm gonna
Again,
lose this.
worth 2 points. Okay, Gerald, you have 3. Saul, you have 2.
Can we make it
Espo,
worth
you could
4
at least
just to
tie.
make it interesting?
No,
Can we make it worth 4? I don't. You guys can vote.
no,
I don't care.
no.
Okay. Which player in Suns franchise history has scored the most points for the Suns in a game against the Magic?
Gerald. LB.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get
That
an
wasn't
extra
the
point
game
if you tell me
notes.
about how many
Espo.
or how many he had.
Oh. I
It
don't know.
was, it's in 39?
Yes, it was 39. All right. So Gerald had 5
Yep.
and Saul had 2 and Espo will give you 1. So you
I got
didn't
on the
end with the
board.
goose egg. Good job, guys. Proud of you. I don't know if you guys like that game or not. Maybe we'll play it again. Maybe we won't. I don't know, but I guess you're just going to have to continue to tune in to find out if we ever do or do not. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. Enjoy the game tonight. And of course, as always, don't forget to meet us right back here after the game wraps up. Bye.
PHNX.
Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though. Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo.